Okay, so Domain Gojo is out, so I thought why not make a video to talk about how to really use him and also his best teams and recollection bits. So obviously with these videos we do start off with explaining his kit. So let's go ahead and do rate that. Now Domain Gojo, just to kind of, before we get into that, just to say, this guy is going to work everywhere and is the unit for you to get. Now, one thing that people really confuse is that Domain Gojo is not really as much of a DPS as the other Gojos, which is why, like, you being like, oh, but I have Tinjo, I have Hollow Purple, I have Blue Gojo, why would I need Domain Gojo? They serve different roles. Domain Gojo also allows you to make your old units way better again, and as we get more SP buffs, all those DPSs that you think are kind of irrelevant are going to get way better, and Domain Gojo is going to make that feel even stronger, and he should stay good, like, even moving forward, right? So even if there's more Gojos that come out, even if there isn't, right, he's still going to be very good because they're going to be doing a lot of buffs and it's just going to be an absolutely good time with the boy. So how exactly this boy works is that he wants to ult before he has 6 turns left. So this guy is here for 9 turns. If he's ulting after, like, well, it would be what, 3 turns in? Like, his ult will be getting the full 300% damage increase. So the only thing that changes per turn is how much extra damage increase you get. So baseline, you get 100% damage increase, okay? You're going to stun for 2 turns, put Infinite Void, which makes it so that they might not actually do their action for 4 turns. You decrease their ult gauge, and then you make sure they can't increase their ult gauge for 4 turns, which means 5 turns total they won't be able to ult, which is absolutely insane because you decrease it by 1 for 4 turns, they can't increase it, and then 1 turn later, if they had 3 out of 4, well, then they're going to increase it, but that's going to take a whole nother turn. So in total, that's 5 turns until they can use their ult again, which is really good. And then in total, there's the 100% damage increase and then the 200% damage increase, putting up to 300%. Now I think turn 5 is 250% total, then turn 4 is like 200% total, and then so on and so forth, but still you should get it in time with the rec bits that we're going to talk about. Now, besides that, you cannot use any other skills besides a certain couple in your ult. The only one you're able to use inside your ultimate is going to be your skill 1. Now your skill 1 is actually going to be very, very strong, so you don't even have to worry about that. Yeah, your skill 1 is going to be very good, so there's absolutely no worry. I mean, listen, it's literally a 500% skill 1, and considering that you have a 500% damage increase, sorry, 300% damage increase inside of your ult with Gojo, yeah, it's still going to do a lot to skill 1 because of that. And then it also increases his urgent business count by 1, which means he's going to stay inside the battle for 1 more turn, which is definitely what we want. So, you know, big W there too. Now, besides that, when he does Black Flash on his skill 1, he gets extra Jujutsu and crit rate, which is actually really goated. Now, why that is because you're going to be able to Black Flash on the skill 1 because there's Taijutsu. So when you Black Flash on the skill 1, you're going to get Jujutsu for when the last turn of the domain that Gojo has his domain up, the damage increase up, he's able to use his skill 3, which is going to be doing a lot more damage with this extra 30% if you hit it. And then, of course, he has attack immunity besides in his ult, which is also going to be very, 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 very strong. So besides that, what else is there to keep in mind? Well, number 1 is that his skill 2 is going to damage lower for 25% at max level. Even getting it to level 8 is fine, but it's still going to do decent AoE damage. Like, it's really crazy how much this could do. So, you know, really good skill 2, but if you're trying to do damage, it's going to be the skill 3, right? The skill 3 is the one you use in the last turn of the damage increase ult. It's going to be a 700% Jujutsu, and it actually buffs his Jujutsu for 3 turns for 45%, so we could actually stack some Jujutsu increases, which is going to be very strong, to where, I mean, I've done 10 million with this skill 3, so it's definitely possible if you do it in certain ways, to where this skill 3 is going to be absolutely goated in terms of damage. Now I did 10 million. I think I had Pride and I ran Degumi, so Gojo was not in his domain, and we kind of ran it like that. Just wanted to see the max damage. So on average, you're going to do about 5 million with this skill 3, and it's very strong. So now let's get into his rec bits. Now, in terms of the level priority, it starts off with the ultimate, then it goes to the skill 2 because it actually damage lowers more. I would say it goes to the skill 1 and then the skill 3 because you're going to be using the skill 1 more. So I would say, like, I mean, skill 1 and skill 3 are pretty equal, but the ult is first level 10. The other 3, I'd probably keep them at level 8, especially with the SP buffs coming up, but the level 10 on ult is very important. Which rec bits are the best? Let's talk about that. There's not many, but the best one, if you're fine with RNG, is gonna be this one. So it's gonna be Hanamaki, Like-Minded Sisters. Now the main reason is because every time that Gojo gets a crit, he's going to increase, right? He's going to increase his alt gauge by 200, okay? And that's once per turn, right? Once per turn, he's going to be able to get this to where he crits, he gets the alt gauge, and this is also going to give him extra taijutsu for his skill 1 to do more damage, which is huge. But yeah, no, this is going to be the one to use if you are fine with RNG, but you have to get the crit. Now, to use this one, either you're going to use the skill 1 or 2. They have the highest crit ratios, also because the skill 2 has 4 hits. The skill 1 has 3 hits, however, it's a higher crit rate, but this one's 40%. So like either skill 1 or skill 2, and this is going to give you your alt gauge the quickest. Now, besides that, what else you could use? I don't even know what it's called exactly, but it is this one. So this one's going to give you 360 alt gauge just off rip. So this one's going to be very strong too. In some cases, it's going to work just as well, if not be easier. So you could easily use this one without any problem in the world. Yeah, for sure, you could try using that one. Now, in terms of other ones you could try using, in some cases, depending on where you use them, the Degumi Rec Bit's actually going to be very good. I think it's Respite for the adults or something like that. It's going to be good because it gives 250% alt gauge, or sorry, 250 alt gauge, but it also gives 25% damage increase for 3 turns to the whole team. Now, why that's important is because if you're in, for example, Sweep and he's the 5th slot, well, you're actually going to be able to get him in there, and then he's going to have the damage increase ready to go. And why that's fine is because usually you're going to have 2 units combo ulting, like Gakuganji and Yaga combo ulting, and that's going to give another 220 alt gauge, and then suddenly you're fine and you have your alt right away. So that's something. Now, the Unity Rec Bit can work. Now, if you are running Unity, however, there is one thing to keep in mind, and the thing to keep in mind is that you should probably run Inumaki to make it easier if you are running Unity on Gojo. I've seen it work. Usually it's if you get combo ults off, because remember, some combo ults will give you 110 alt gauge. So this is definitely something that can work, but it is not exactly like the best, for example. And I've never realized it, but they actually show which rec bit is next to each other in the corners. I've literally never fucking seen that. So overall, those are the 4 best ones to run, and the only 4 I personally consider running on Gojo. Now, if you're running anything else, it's because you're running a very specific type of team comp. So do keep that in mind. There's not really many others that will work. If we're being honest, like if you're running a healing rec bit, maybe I don't think you should, but it's like going to be if like you're doing some type of stall strat that I'm not really sure of. But for the most part, like this is free to play, so you should have it, right? And if not, you should have Unity, you should have Like-Minded, and you should have Respite for the adults. So all those are the ones that I would run on Domain Gojo. Now, in terms of a Sweep team comp, this is like the best. So I know Sweep isn't out yet, but I'm going to put this first. So you have Gojo in the back. You could run this one on him just fine because you're going to be able to get his ult in time. Now, this DPS, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be Zonji, right? It could literally be anyone. It could be Zonji, Muta, Yellow Mekomaru, Maki, right? Toji. It could be Yellow Nanami. It could be anyone, right? It doesn't matter. It's just saying that DPS, Kaido is going to have this top memory. Gojo comes in. Now, this Ghetto, if you don't have Ghetto, or if it's a Taijutsu DPS, you run Gakuganji, okay? That's literally it. So you have Yaga with Cursed Energy Increase. You have Unity with either Gakuganji or Ghetto. Then you have Kaido with the top memory. That's free to play, right? And then afterwards, you have, which literally you could get at any time. Then you have your DPS with either Pride or non-standard, or you could run even Hanamaki, which is Like-Minded Sisters. And then you got Gojo with this free-to-play memory. So overall, this is a very free-to-play team comp, right? Well, if you have Gojo, obviously. You have Gojo, an SR, you could run an SR, you could run a rare, and then you have your DPS, right? So it's like, it's very free to play if you really think about it. So this is kind of going to be what it's going to be for Sweep. Now, for other team comps, how it's going to work, on average, it's going to be just this, right? It's literally just going to be this. If you're really going for damage, right, it is just simply going to be this. So very simply put, for this, you might want to put Like-Minded Sisters, okay? And then for your DPS, like Sukuna, who be it, right? Let's say it's Green Yuji. I don't know. I mean, we could say Yuta, actually, since we'll go with Yuta. This is going to help. So we go with Yuta. Okay, so you have Yuta, you have Gojo, then you're going to have Ghetto, and then you're going to have Yaga. So, let's say, I mean, this would be actually a very good team comp. You want to have one stat buffer, Yaga, stat debuffer, and either a damage increase or a damage debuffer, because damage debuff and damage increase are additive, where those two multiply against stat buffs and stat debuffs, to where those 3 are multiplicative. So these 3 units that we have here are all multiplicative against each other to give you the biggest buff increase possible. And this overall is going to be a very good team for you to use. Like in most cases for red floors, you will be clearing all of this. No matter who you put for this slot, you will be clearing all of this. And like you could put Gaku Ganji here, right? And then you'll be chilling. Now, let's say you do not have Gaku Ganji. Who could you use? Well, at that point, it really just doesn't matter because no matter what it's going to be, there's no other stat buffer, debuffer. So, for example, you could use your stat debuffer. If it's green and you have Ghetto, then yeah, you could use Ghetto. But in those cases, right, if you don't have anything like that, you could use someone like Mai. It could be any buffer. It could be Mai. It could be Degumi. But I personally, I mean, you could use Degumi if you don't have a stat debuffer. It could be Momo, right? And I mean that is kind of it. There's not really many more on global right now in terms of universal ones. So it would be anyone else. But in terms of the best team comp, it would be something like this. Now, especially in the more recent floors, you're going to sometimes require mono. And good for you, they do have a perfect red Nanami there. And for the most part, it does stay rather the same, right? This rec bit is really good. But of course, this one could easily change to something like this, right? This one's going to work very good. But it's very much just have your DPS, have Gojo, have Yaga, because Yaga's still amazing, and then have usually a stat debuffer, but if it has to be mono for some of these more recent floors, then there you go. Now, you can also run like basically like double sub DPS. So I've also seen a Red Nobara working for a lot of the more recent floors, and this team is also going to be pretty good, but usually I'm pretty sure they have like, you could also do something like this, where it's going to be with a Ready Numaki. So this is another very popular team comp where it's like, this is how it's going to be. So like I've seen this one win some of the matches. So you'll have this, right? I think we put it, yeah, I think it would be this. And then we could literally just we could keep this, but you have to get lucky, which is fine. But you would put top memory that you activate and it's for 2 turns. And then Gaku Ganji would have cursed energy increase. So it would be something like this. And then like you have, it's just 2 sub DPSs. So Gojo does sub DPS damage. Nobara does, well, in between, like she could definitely do enough damage, but it's going to be a team like this that's going to allow you to really get ahead too. So the way it's like team building in this game, if we're completely real with each other, is not that difficult. But it's very much just like having the right units, making sure you're getting all the different types of buffs, and you'll be fine, right? Now, if you're wanting to do a sub DPS Gojo, I mean, you don't really need to. Like, literally, there's so many good red DPSs that it's like, I'd be surprised if you would have to. But if you do, then yeah, you could run Degumi here, and then like have obviously Gaku Ganji or Ghetto there, and you'd be just fine with Respite for Adults. So that's kind of it. Like, Like-Minded Sisters is very good for Gojo, but if you don't have it, for example, then yeah, you could easily just use this one for sure. It works just as well. And if you're doing sweep, like I said, this one will work very well. It's very much universal how Gojo works. He works with every single team, so keep that in mind. In terms of like who he's able to, let's talk about this actually. So in terms of who he's able to really like get up there, so units that are really going to profit off of him, or you're going to use with in terms of DPS, you could either use Yuta, you could use Yuji, you could use Toji. You're able to also use Megumi here, but very much Jogo is going to get a huge advantage from this alongside Sukuna. For green Nanami, green Yuji work, okay? Very soon Muta will work. One of the biggest winners is green Megumi, okay? And then for yellow, there's not really many yellow DPS, honestly. I mean, that's kind of interesting to think about. But yellow Nanami, but the thing is, every yellow unit is good. She's good. He's 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 like literally not one of these units aren't good in the new tower floors. It's insane. It's actually insane. So like anyone besides Tinjo on this works, especially Nobara. So listen, the sweep team comp I recommended, yellow Nobara is going to work great with that. So that's kind of it. Just wanted to give you guys an overall briefing on how you would go about him. And making sure you get his ult in time is going to be very important. So make sure you land your crit, because you should easily be getting your ult if you're landing your crit alongside Unity. Keep that in mind. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day.